What's a deep, dark secret you've never told anyone? When I first learned what masturbating was, I had the iPod Touch First General. I looked up stuff like boobs and butts, but I got so paranoid that my mom would find out I did it, so I threw away the iPod. My fiance's brother downloaded PRN to his phone when he was maybe 14 before going to the mountain house where there was no Wi-Fi or cell signal. When he went to watch it, Obama's face popped up telling him he was going to jail. He panicked, smashed the phone, and threw it in the woods. He told his parents he lost the phone. They still don't know the truth, and his mom thinks we'll find it someday in a drawer in the house. It's been around 5 years now. I have one testicle. My wife has a ceramic mug that she uses all day every day to drink water. As long as I've known her, she's used the same mug. 5 years ago, shortly after we moved in together, I found the same mug on eBay. That replacement mug sits in a box at my office, just in case the day comes that I accidentally break the original. The very first time I ever touched myself in a sexual way, I was in the 4th grade and fantasizing about Al Gore. Not as serious as most of the above posts, but I am 20 years old and still can't ride a bike. Edit. Thanks for all the responses and offers of help. Many of you have offered to help and I really appreciate the gesture, but it's a secret because it is embarrassing to learn at this age in public. Thanks for all the upvotes too. I peed in my dad's bottle of Bacardi. He drank from it every night and was a raging alcoholic when I was younger. In a time he acted like an asshole. I'd have this small sense of satisfaction in the back of my mind that no matter what he said or did, he drank my piss. I blame myself for one of my best friends passing away. He lived across the country, but I stopped talking to him when we both delved way too far into hard drugs, and I blamed him for it secretly. A year later he was found dead, and the last time I saw him I was barred out on Xanax. I'll never forgive myself for that. I was never fully potty trained until 7. I cringe at that every day. When I was 13, someone in RuneScape was selling SX. I said how much and flashed her my newly acquired 32k I got from cowhides to buy a rune simmy. Couldn't we wild? We went upstairs in West Bank and she did a gesture to get near my crotch and went mm. You like this? I said oh yeah, all smoothly. But here's the kicker. My 13-year-old self was thinking he was getting his first BJ. I was freaking the FCK out. Computer was in living room. Whole family in there. I remember my father shifting on the couch. I panicked. Said bye and noped the FCK out. Then googled how to clear browser history so family couldn't find the dirty shit I just did. Edit. I didn't pay up front. Listen here. I dropped all but one class the first semester last year. And the second semester I dropped my GPA down to like a 1.6. Needless to say, I'm going to be working my ass off this upcoming year. Family thinks I'm like 3. If anybody remembers the toy sock'em boppers. Basically they're blow up boxing gloves that are shaped kind of like lawnmower tires. They didn't need to strap or tie around your wrist to stay on because at full inflation the hand insert was tight enough to snug your wrist. Well, one day I'm lying on the couch and my little brother decided to whack me in the side of the head with one when I wasn't paying attention. His fun was cut short, however. He immediately took off the bopper and lamented that it was wet inside the hand insert and that it stunk. Confused, he walked away. I had been using it for a pocket vagina. I feel as though all my friends are too good for me and the only way to be entertaining is to act silly because my true personality can't carry a friendship. I was molested by my grandpa from about age 5-9. I never told my parents or friends but did tell my therapist. I drunkly told my, also drunk, fiance after about 2 weeks of dating, but he's never brought it back up. I don't think he remembers. I don't plan on telling him. As payback, my step-grandmother left me a diamond ring that just appraised for over $30k a year ago, among other jewelry that appraised for about $5k. No one in the family understands why she left that to me and I'm not saying a word. Edit. Throwaway since my fiance knows my usual Reddit account. I don't think he remembers. Or he does but prefers not making you uncomfortable. I faked a seizure to get out of a wedding once. I would probably never consider myself an atheist, but I certainly don't believe in many of the core tenets of my professed religion, and I have very serious doubts about most of the others. The biggest problem is I've come to these conclusions only after recently marrying my very conservatively religious wife and taking a job at said religious institution as a minister. I'm in a bad place right now. Edit. Thanks a lot to everyone who has commented with advice, philosophy, and consolation. I have read every comment up to this point, and it has honestly put me a bit at ease to hear from you all. I'm going to turn off my notifications, but I love all of the open discussion, so feel free to continue commenting. That I'm paranoid and that people are going to take me away. I'm too scared to tell anyone, because then they'll take me away somewhere. I regularly think about leaving without telling anyone and hiding somewhere. Edit. Really wasn't expecting replies. I just kinda needed to put this in words because I couldn't tell anyone I person. But for everyone who's reading this, I'm a diagnosed schizophrenic. Every time I try to talk about what's going on, someone in my head tells me they'll take me away or outcast me if I tell anyone. I've had it since childhood, but I kept it a secret until I finally told my doctor a few months ago. Even then, I lie my ass off when I see them because I'm too scared of the outcome of telling them the truth. But I read the comments you guys left me, and I'm going to speak with somebody on Wednesday. And this time I'm bringing my best friend who's been keeping notes of what I tell him so they can get the full story. Thanks for the support, you guys. Made my day. I have good days where I am all life is good. I could do this for 50 more years. And then I have bad days where the only thing keeping me alive is the fear of a failed attempt to end it. Full stop. That I was molested by a close family member. It stopped eventually, but now I have to meet that family member and pretend nothing ever happened when I hate him and all aspects of his personality. Edit. This blew up more than I expected. I just wanted to say thank you for all the kind words. Thanks for understanding and giving me some courage to one day call that person out. I've lost weight in the past year and have been exercising and packing healthy lunches for work. My friends and co-workers comment about my weight loss and fitness level. But I dread my days off because then I'm home alone and I binge eat massive quantities of food and throw it all up multiple times throughout the day until my husband comes home. I'm an RN and I am painfully aware of how I am damaging myself. Edit. Holy shit. I did not expect this much support. I'm overwhelmed. I was sitting on the swing in my backyard with my husband and 3-year-old son when I switched accounts to share this. It physically hurt just to type it out and read the words. It's heartbreaking to see how many others are suffering and hiding their own ED. I know I need help, but I've always been the strong one in our family and I feel ashamed to admit that I am such a goddamn mess. Thank you all for taking the time to reach out. When someone drew PRN of me and Tomatoa. Yes. The crab Tomatoa. Edit. Sadly I do not have a link. The blog who did it deactivated. I once took a dump on a soccer field and wiped my ass with the corner flag. World Cup brings out the best of us all. I'm a mom, but I hate being around other moms. I'm not even sure why, but I find it annoying. I also hate talking about our kids all the time and nothing else. Edit. I also have part of a tattoo that I secretly like, even though I give people a BS excuse as to why I got it so I don't seem like an idiot. The older I get, the more I understand why people commit suicide. The older I get, the more I hope I don't live a long life. Edit. Thanks for my first gold. Did not know so many people would relate to an offhand comment about not wanting to live forever. Got up-head by my brother when I was 8 until 16-17. Think I have some kind of Stockholm syndrome and feel like I will never be able to have a normal sex life. Never told anyone, not even therapists. And I am a male, so a lot of shame as well. Edit. Thank you so much for your kind words everyone. I've read all the replies and what seems to be the thing is to talk and reach out to someone. So I'll try telling my therapist next session or one soon. I even cried a little for the kind words, and for those experiencing the same. I'm sorry I felt alone too, but I guess this thread have shown me that to be not true. I never have dealt with this before, but maybe it's time. I was just as reluctant to start therapy and that went well. So maybe this will too. Dude. When I was going to school we were really poor. My mom would regularly be in tears about bills. I used to sneak my lunch money back into their possession by hiding it in laundry, jackets, cars, or her purse. They were always so happy and relieved to find extra cash they had forgotten about. At the Embarcadero BART station there used to be an elevator that went from the train platform up to the gates. But it opened outside the gates so you didn't need to swipe your card to exit the station. I used to buy a cheap fare in the East Bay where I was living. Take the train into San Francisco and use the system to save myself $8 a day in commuting costs. I did this for years until finally a BART cop stopped me. I gave him my out-of-state driving license which I also had illegally retained. Said I was new to the city and didn't realize you had to be charged exit out the gates. Somehow he believed me, but I never tried that ruse again and from that point on paid full price. My girlfriend got extremely sick while we were sleeping next to each other. Like roll over off the bed and cover the floor and vomit sick. I don't have the stomachs for it and I started feeling sick as well, and before I could get out of the room I vomited all over her trash can. I immediately got out of the room and finished up in the restroom, and then her roommate sister comes running in. She heard me bust out of the room and came to see what was happening. There was vomit everywhere. An unbelievable amount for a small girl, and it was everywhere. She got my girlfriend in the shower and asked me to watch her while she got to work cleaning up our mixed awfulness. It took her a while and my girlfriend threw up a few more times from what we found out was food poisoning. Eventually most of it was cleaned up and I put her back in bed, and I have not told a single person that it wasn't all her vomit and I had in fact covered the other half of the room. Edit. I used to put croissants through the self-service as bread rolls. They weigh roughly the same so it won't set them off, and it comes in as half the price. Peppers still get weighed as onions. Come get me supermarkets. Edit. I stopped talking to my brother because he FK'd my girlfriend. He begged me to forgive him and I told him no every time he asked. He killed himself just a couple weeks after the last time. I've never been able to forgive myself. When I was a kid, I once took a drinking straw and blew air into my piss hole just to see what would happen. There was a weird gurgling sound. Like boiling soup. Scared the hell out of me. I was worried I broke something. Stupid kid. That's not how blowjobs work. I now have a horrible image of the air coming rushing out in one giant penile fart. Which if you were flaccid would cause the penis to flap around like an angry air hose all the while whistling a happy little tune. So thanks. I hear voices in my head. The reason why I haven't gotten rid of them is because they keep me sane. I was suicidal at one point when they first started talking me. They talked me down like any normal person. So now I hear them. Constantly telling me they love me and to keep moving on. They encourage me to get help. To talk to people. To not let myself fall back into the depression. I know I'm insane, but I was so much worse without them. I've only told one other person about it. Mostly so if I start going crazy. So far. 3 years later. All good. 10 voices. All different personalities but all very comforting. Sure. Be careful though. My friend had something like this but the voices turned ugly. She got some medication and is doing alright now. It terrifies me to think about how completely and utterly lost I would be without my wife and daughter. Almost to the point where I'm worried my actual existence is completely and totally defined by my need to be a husband and father. Maybe. In that sense. I'm also scared of the fact that I have nothing else to offer the world other than being a family man. Edit. Thank you everyone for the kind words. Encouragement. and philosophies I can use in my day-to-day life. Especially thank you to the individual that called me a betabucks. I definitely needed my daily reminder that I'm not alpha enough by admitting a secret or insecurity. Maybe it's an alpha move to admit it in the first place. I ordered 50 custom fortune cookies at 3 AM saying I think I'm in love with you just to give my best friend one. When I woke up, I knew I couldn't give them to him because he has a girlfriend and I've missed my chance. He used to be in love with me. Anyone want a fortune cookie? I want to die. I'm not gonna kill myself, but I've completely given up on life and happiness. When I was younger I lost so much weight I was carving new holes into my belt with a knife so I could tighten it more. My parents knew I was losing some weight, but they never knew how bad it was for some time. Thankfully I gained the weight back and told my parents the truth of what was happening. I once killed a mother duck with a slingshot. I am so sorry. I didn't think that I would hit. Sometimes I wonder what happened to the baby ducks. I was a stupid 11 years old. I accidentally stepped on a baby chick once. Its intestines were coming out of its butthole and its brothers and sisters were going cheep standing around it all confused. I felt so fking awful. Then I kicked it into a pile of garbage before anyone noticed. I still feel guilty to this day. 15 years later. I'll never forget how soft it was. It felt like I'd stepped on a fresh muffin. The only reason I'm still alive is because I'm too damn stubborn to let the dark thoughts win. Edit. Thanks to all you kind, beautiful souls for your kind, beautiful words. You've brought me some brightness today. I have legitimately concocted plans to kill my abusive pedophilic rapist grandfather. After all he did to my aunts. After what he did to my mom. His favorite. When I was about 15 I was staying with my cousins for a week. I was playing Gran Turismo 2 on their landing where their PlayStation was. And my 14-year-old cousin was in the shower. When she finished she opened the bathroom door and hesitated to come onto the landing. She saw me playing and looking at the TV, then came out, holding a hand towel over her front, and slipped into her room, which was right next to the bathroom. There clearly wasn't a bath towel in there and she thought that I wasn't watching, so she was good to go. In reality I looked up at the landing mirror just after the door opened and got a great view of side boob and ass as she ducked around the corner. Cue a few years with very confused feelings about her. Is it bad that I automatically thought it was an incest story right after you said cousin? Huge chunks of memory are missing from my childhood and school years. And the only way I can somewhat remember them is if someone tells me about it. Once I'm in the car my friend and mom talked about how many times she used to came over and I hardly remember any of it. I still believe that my deceased high school sweetheart will reincarnate or something and come back to me somehow. I'm not suicidal, but I want to die. Like, I would never kill myself. But I don't want to live either. Every day, I hope to get in a fatal car accident on my way to work. I cheated on my 5th grade science fair project and ended up winning the entire competition. I'm now 23 and still feel like a piece of shit because of it. Edit. My penis is several shades darker than the rest of me. And I never tan my penis. Common. I blame myself every day for the end of my relationship with my ex. I can't move on because I know she was probably the one, but I f'd it up. My whole life's an act. I have no idea what the FCK I'm doing and what my actual personality is. Somehow I'm coming out on top. But I've become whatever I feel like in the moment. I don't know who I am. It's not really dark, but that I'm in love with my friend and he's moving away in a couple of weeks. I don't know if I should say anything or if I should just keep it to myself. Edit. Thank you everyone for sharing your stories and for the responses. It gave me the little push I needed to tell him. The real reason I quit graduate school was because I couldn't work as organic chemist anymore because using one of the cyanide compounds in every lab was too tempting to resist. I guess the second one related to that is that I still wish I had gone through with it. I was arped and tortured for approx 45 minutes to an hour by my ex. I'm a guy. I made a long post about this a while back, but deleted the post as writing it all out just gave me huge anxiety and made me physically sick for a few days. I won't go into much detail, but a few things that happened to me that day. I was urinated on. Some went in my mouth. My penis was handled in such a rough manner that I still have pains down there to this day. I have chronic pain due to the torture. My mental state is very fragile. I can't even let anyone touch me or even sit next to me now as I get serious anxiety and start sweating uncontrollably. The injury caused by the torture means I can never do boxing or ride motorbikes again, both of which I love doing. To anyone who's wondering what my injury is, I left that small detail out on purpose as I don't want any Redditor figuring out who I am IRL. I have not told a single soul IRL. I don't have the strength to. Drake sounds like a toad. I was bullied really badly as a kid and it was one of the factors that led to my suicide attempt at 8. The kid who bullied me killed himself a few years ago. And when I found out I was glad? I don't know what word to use exactly, but I felt like I finally beat him. I won and he lost. I still have a hard time feeling sad when the anniversary rolls around and everyone is talking about what a wonderful guy he was and such a loving son and brother and blah blah blah. He wasn't. He was a Satan spawn who made my life a living hell for 3 years. And I'm glad he's dead. I feel guilty about feeling that way though. This is a crappy one and I feel bad about it. I resent my girlfriend. All through high school I've felt useless being unable to approach new people and make friends. I'd stay up at night crying and considering that I was useless. To make it worse, my grades dropped a lot because I played a lot of video games to attempt to talk to people. I jerk off every day at work. In the toilet of course. Get yourself an ant plant. All I want is a quiet life with the only person I've ever loved. I supplement my aunt's income by paying her for opiates. Her husband died and she lost his income and is barely making it, and I'm an addict so it kind of works out, only I hate myself for it. I shower naked. FCK. I'm seeing molest way too much. I have severe social anxiety but deny it every time my family brings it up. Also every couple weeks I go into a deep depression for a few days. I feel like my life is on a loop of waking up, showering, playing video games, going to bed, repeat. I just want to sell my gaming PC so I have a reason to stop playing games. I don't think I'm addicted to games. I'm just addicted to have no social interaction. I haven't had sex in 3 years and I sometimes lie to my friends about it. I can hang out with girls and be confident, even though I'm introverted. But I can never conclude and it tears me up inside. I can't feel happiness. There's a void inside that I can't fill. Some days like today are horrible. My darkest secret. I read every dark secret here. I attempted suicide multiple times at work. It has made me so miserable working there that I'm hopeless. I ended up taking a leave but that's coming to an end so I'm going back and I don't know if the problem has been resolved. I got fat on purpose. Ever hear of gainers? Yeah. I was one. It was a turn on and a fetish. I started young, either 8th or 9th grade. By the time I graduated high school, I went from 130 to 250. I ended up getting digestive problems that led to me losing 70 pounds in college. I was happy with that and gave up gaining on purpose. But I had developed bad eating habits and accidentally gained back 20 pounds. That was a turn on. So I intentionally got up to 240 again before reigniting the digestive problems. Now I am constantly in a battle between wanting to lose weight, liking when I gain weight, awful eating habits, and digestive problems. I yo-yo around 200 to 215 typically. I wish I never got into it, but it was a real turn on even then. I didn't care what the negative consequences were.